Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm sure some of you guys, I'm a new face. As I was introduced, Reymund Dumlao, I lead the West for Google Cloud Public Sector. Two words come to mind right now. Number one, wow. Number two, nervous. I will have to echo what Secretary Tong mentioned. I did not imagine the scale of the professionals and state leaders that will be here, and I'm a little bit nervous as I go through my topic today. And again, wow, it's hard to follow the thought leaders here in the stage today. So I'm going to try my best. And with artificial intelligence as my topic here, I want to share with you guys really what to consider on how we begin our AI journey. I will date a little bit of myself. I come from the tech background. I was a part of the .com boom, .com bust, and now in this what we're calling AI revolution. It is an exciting time. However, we also really need to make sure that we are careful in understanding how do we proceed with these powerful technologies. As the panel mentioned today, data is key. Artificial intelligence is really not intelligent without the data. We talk a little bit about Gen AI. Gen AI really is just that interface that allows you to talk to the more powerful technologies behind. So with that, I'm going to go to my first slide. And I really just wanted to share some of these principles and processes. Again, as we speed through the adoption of artificial intelligence, many of us here are technologists, and this is how I'm attempting to frame what we have been used to in developing applications. Meaning, before we start any project, if we're doing a mainframe modernization or an application development, there's always requirements, there's always setting up environments, who has access to these environments, and so forth and so on. It is not different from how we would begin an AI project. However, there are a lot of things that I'm hoping that we would consider prior to working on AI projects. Number one, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I blame this for my wife. She gave me readers, and now I am so reliant on readers. Number one really is defining the problem. Before we start an AI project, we really need to understand and define that problem statement. There are easy AI projects that we can get started with, but without an understanding of what that problem statement is, it's very difficult to really contain some of these projects. Number two, collect and prepare the data. I think the panel prior to me was talking about really the power of data. And again, without the data, artificial intelligence is really nothing. And without people, technologies, really nothing. Training the model, evaluate the model, and integrate and monitor are processes that, again, from a technology standpoint, we are so used to. It goes into that software development life cycle. So think about it that way, where we insert these AI processes in the things that we have been really trained in as technology professionals. I will flash a little bit of what Google's AI policies are here, or principles, excuse me. And it is important because when we build these capabilities around artificial intelligence, it's important for you to have a North Star. The panel mentioned earlier, and some of the comments, the last question was around bias. Without having your AI principles defined ahead of time, you can easily lose your way into developing these technologies, because you really need to think about not just the artificial intelligence, but how it's going to affect the outcome. You guys have heard about artificial intelligence that are running into hallucinations. So those are things that you need to continue to test. So again, by defining your AI principles, that will be your North Star. The way that we do it at Google, while these are the very highest levels, every organization or team within Google are defining a subset of these principles, if you will. I'll give you guys an example for how we do it with Google Maps. We follow the highest level AI principles here, but we also continue to define AI principles around our mapping technology. You guys have used, I'm sure you guys have used Street View. We have defined specific requirements as to, number one, making sure that this data, you can say, hey, I want to blur my house, or I want to blur other things. But we also put in our capabilities there to just blur faces, blur the plate numbers, and so forth and so on. Again, we are thinking about it responsibly. Non-technical requirements, but really areas to where you would want to focus in developing these AI capabilities. So again, before I leave this slide, I'm sharing with you our AI principles, but it's key to define your own AI principles. In fact, we had a meeting a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to remember the exact question that they'd asked. It was around really how to better deliver public benefits and services to the state. When I saw that, actually that is a good beginning of defining an AI principle for each of the different departments, and define them granularly so that, again, that serves as to your North Star in developing these AI capabilities. Here, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in this slide. This talks about our internal process on how we really go through and make sure that AI is safe, AI is doing the things we want it to do, and that we're not inadvertently inserting unneeded biases in what we do today. That is key to everything that we build on our products. I didn't want to add this slide. From an IT perspective, we all hear data governance, IT governance, and so forth and so on. But it is very important to have your own governance process and structure to make sure that we're double checking our work, if you will. Establishing, number one, the data. I'm really glad they teed me up from the last panel. Data stewardship is key to make sure what data you're feeding your artificial intelligence. Who has control with that data? Who is responsible? So ask those questions as you embark into your AI projects. Responsible AI. Again, not a lot of technical, but more ethical requirements and thinking. If I did this, what would happen? Who would get affected? Non-technical, right? As we implement these things. I'll give an example. Would you want to have artificial intelligence to do an intake determination? I would say not. We were talking about a little bit bias earlier here. If somebody enters their information in an intake process for a social service program, and you have artificial intelligence making that automatic determination, it may inadvertently address bias. So that's probably not a good use case for you to use, but could you use artificial intelligence to summarize that information if it's in multiple places, and to provide that to a human being to finally make the final decision? I think that's a good use case of artificial intelligence that helps eliminate or reduce the mundane processes that occur today in government or even in the public sector. Privacy and security. 2 minutes, thank you. We talked about that, the previous panel talked about that as well. We are and should be responsible for the privacy and the security of the data. Again, data leakage has been happening when you're engaging with the commercial AI bots out there, so be careful. And I'm going to breeze through this slide. And again, these are all just details on the governance model. I'm happy to share this slide to show you guys how we do it at Google, something that I think we have been doing for a number of years that would be valuable for you guys to to see and perhaps make it your own. I talked a little bit about considerations for assessing AI projects. This is part of the different teams, or different roles. At Google, we have non-technical, non-product managers, like in all facets of our organization, be a part of this committee when we're trying to understand what AI capability or feature. So I would encourage a good swath of different roles to be a part of your AI committee or AI governance process as well. Organizational readiness and considerations, this is key after implementing, how it's the change management. Again, we heard that in the previous panel. So change management is going to be key. How will this affect the process? How will it affect the day-to-day job? Is always going to be key. Risk assessment, project governance, these are some examples of, how would you control or manage these types of projects. AI governance, it's not a checklist. It continues to evolve. This is something that is new to us. So be mindful of what we are all stepping into when we're building these AI capabilities to make sure that we are always watching out for potential pitfalls. It needs that human touch, if you will, to make sure that we're always progressing these capabilities. And I'm going to end with this slide again. This is how we're overlaying it in our traditional, what we're used to, software development lifecycle, and where we feel that you can insert the AI processes so that you can be responsible in the development of your artificial intelligence capabilities. With that, I think all good. Thank you very much.